For today, in the name of freedom, we take the battle to them.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jurassic World Chaos Theory Season 3 has finally hit Netflix, and oh boy, as many of you know, I don't actually even remember if I did a review of Season 2. I feel like I did one of Season 1. No, actually, I just searched Chaos Theory in YouTube Studio and I haven't covered the show at all, except for when I ranked the entire franchise, and that's when Season 1 was out, and I was pretty disappointed with Season 1. I was happy that it was much more mature than Camp Cretaceous, but I really just wasn't a fan of the whole thing, mainly because all the emotional scenes, which, I'll be honest with you, really got to me in Season 1, just kind of fell flat now with Brooke being alive. Because I was under the impression that they were going to keep Brooklyn dead, because they probably wouldn't be able to get Jenna Ortega back, because Jenna just shot up to the top of Hollywood names. And then, if they could get her back, then they would be like, oh yeah, no, Brooke survived. Nope, they just decided to bring her back anyway, which, by the way, the new voice actress for Brooklyn sounds so much like Jenna, it's actually crazy. I think that she was a fantastic replacement. Really, really good. Season 2 then came around, and I was like, alright, this is definitely an improvement. There were some things I found strange, but, I could believe a lot of it. Not everything was perfect, of course. There were certain things which I was like, that's a bit dumb. But Season 2, I think, was definitely an improvement over Season 1. And then we get to Season 3. And oh my god, this was easily the best season of this show so far. And I know basically the same thing happened with Camp Cretaceous. You had Season 1, which was alright. I do think I'd rather watch Season 1 of Camp Cretaceous than Season 1 of Chaos Theory, just because I think that Camp Cretaceous, I can at least enjoy it because of nostalgia. But then Season 2, I think, was an improvement. I actually really like Season 2 of Camp Cretaceous. And then Season 3 is just the best one of the show so far. But I'm hoping that this is where the similarities end, because Season 4 of Camp Cretaceous was one of the worst things to ever happen to this franchise. Probably the worst, if I'm going to be honest. But let's talk about Season 3. Season 3, we saw from the trailer and everything, it was going to tie in with Jurassic World Dominion, mainly with its creatures, because of course this is the third season now with the Atrociraptors. Season 2, I don't actually think we saw any of them apart from Red, because Red was the one that Sayona kept with her. But yeah, I don't actually remember what happened, because was the handler in Season 2? I don't think she was. I think the last time we saw her was Season 1. And then, they show her back again in Season 3, and of course, not just the Atrociraptors, you have the Pyroraptor and the Locusts. Now, I know people were not fans of the Locusts because they apparently ruined Dominion, and look, I am a huge defender of Jurassic World Dominion. While I completely understand why people hate it, it's not the movie that we wanted, but I enjoyed the movie that it was. And yes, even though the plot kind of gets started because of the Locusts is hardly a big part of the movie, because they barely have any screen time. As far as like the flocks, I don't really know what you call them, but like the groups of locusts go, the only scenes they had were like the barnyard scene, the lab scene, and then when they escaped. That was it actually, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, so people I think definitely overhated when it comes to the locusts, but the way that they're used in Chaos Theory Season 3, they are barely in it. They get maybe 2 or 3 scenes, very much like in Dominion. But I think that they are handled so much better in Chaos Theory, just because they are treated like actual bugs. Like in Dominion, really the only scene you get of people reacting the way you'd expect them to is the kids at the barnyard, because well, on the farm, because they are terrified of the locusts. But in Chaos Theory, you can genuinely see the characters are disgusted but also scared, because that's the expectation. Well, not the expectation, sorry. That's the expected reaction that one would have when seeing a locust the size of a fucking dog. And what I love about this is that I said that to myself when I first saw one of their reactions. I was like, that's the reaction someone would have if they see a bug the size of a dog. And then Ben says the same thing. I remember Ben saying something about like locust the size of a terrier. I was like, no way. I wrote the script. But yeah, I really liked how the locusts were handled this season. And yeah, that was cool. But really, as far as creatures go, as far as the standouts is for the animals, I think that the Pyroraptor was probably the best dinosaur villain that we have seen in this show. I loved it. I don't know if I said it. I probably have, even though it's been nearly 3 years since Dominion. But I loved the look of the Pyroraptor in Dominion, and mainly because of the snow on it. I absolutely loved it. The color of the Pyroraptor was already beautiful, but the snow on it just made it look gorgeous. But it's such a shame that it only had one scene. And then you get to Chaos Theory Season 3, and this thing is absolutely terrifying. It has some really creepy sequences. Most notably, oh my god, it's the scene where they're looking for Smoothie, which I will get to Smoothie. And then you just see it emerge from the fog. And that is absolutely terrifying imagery. In fact, that little bit of art they show at the end is the creepiest shot of the entire franchise, in my opinion. And this shot, I just went and found this on Twitter. This is the creepiest shot of the entire franchise. I know that Jurassic Park and The Lost World were, they had their horror moments, but this, do not look at this and tell me that this is not terrifying. It reminds me, I actually remember like a long time ago, Altiori did a video, and I forgot whether it was a story or something, or if she thought of it herself, but there was like something that she was saying that would be cool to see in a film. And that's like, I remember there was a kid who went to take out the garbage, and then he looked into the forest because like his dog ran in there or something, and then he just saw like the glowing eyes of the Carnotaurus, and then I remember the Carnotaurus killed him. But that's what that reminds me of, is just this absolutely terrifying glowing-eyed carnivore just staring at you through the darkness. It is brilliant. It really, really is. That shot, I know I'm talking about it a lot, but god damn, that is terrifying. And also that is one something that ties into Dominion with the Pyroraptor is they chased it the last time we saw the Pyroraptor this season. They had chased it off the snow because it was in the snow. It was stalking the skiers and the snowboarders, and then we just saw it run off. And then that, we assume is where it ran to. It just ran through the snow until it reached that dam area where Owen and shit, I forgot her name. Kayla. That when Owen and Kayla encountered it. So yeah, that's really cool. And also the Pyroraptor being able to just crawl under the snow, I thought was great. But yeah, there's just some really cool sequences. I love the way that they used it. That they really treated this thing like a villain in this show. And the first time that we quote unquote see it, it's like obscured through the snow. It lands on the car and things. It leaves its feathers lying about. And really a creepy sequence is when that guy goes out to feed his dog, and then the Pyroraptor just crawls out of the bush and kills him. That's scary. I refuse to believe that anyone who watches, especially this season, looks at this and goes, "Oh yeah, no, this is a kid's show." Bro, How? How? This is crazy. This is ridiculous. And I love it. I love it. That's the one thing about Chaos Theory I will say is definitely better than Camp Cretaceous is that it's a lot more mature. There's a lot more deaths in this show, even though we don't see it much. But yeah, anyway, moving on from the death and the creepiness, let's move on to something which I think has united everyone, and that is Smoothie. Smoothie, I'm gonna say it. I think that Smoothie is cuter than Baby Bumpy. Smoothie is the most adorable little dinosaur in the entire freaking franchise. He is so freaking cute. It is unbelievable. He is literally a puppy. He's so cute. I love him. I love his design. I love his little characteristics. The way that he literally acts like a dog. The way he rolls over and just the way he purrs. It's so cute. I love him. He's absolutely adorable. And I just hope that he doesn't grow up as quickly as Bumpy did. Because Bumpy, we like barely got to spend time with baby Bumpy. This thing is so cute, man. Come on. Of course, the name. The name is genius. Of course, just being a contrast to Bumpy. Naming him Smoothie? Fantastic idea. And then before we get into the juicy stuff, I will just talk about the new characters and their relationships with one another. So, we're introduced to Ben's girlfriend, Gia, who, yes, is real. And look, I know she's animated, but she has a beautiful design. I like the way that they did her eyes. I think her eyes are like this kind of emerald greenish color. She looks fantastic. I mean that in like a a non creepy way, but yeah, she genuinely she was awesome. You know, she really was. The fact that she was studying to be a paleontologist or paleontologist, whatever the fuck you want to say. And then the main thing that I loved about her is that her and Ben had a fantastic relationship. And I cannot think of a single relationship in this franchise that has gone this well. These two, like, I don't think they fought the entire season. I love this. They are such a fantastic couple. It's great. It really is. And then, of course, you have Nana, who, I'm going to be honest with you, really had me crying in some scenes. Just because, mainly of the scene where the Pyroraptor faces off against the Atrociraptors. Which, by the way, that just makes the Pyroraptor even more badass. That it took on 3 Atrociraptors and didn't look like it had a scratch. During that scene, 4 carnivorous creatures are surrounding her, and Nana is just holding Bumpy. I mean, Bumpy, shit. is just holding Smoothie and protecting him. That, oh my god, that really got to me. That really got to me. I was like, please don't let anything happen to Nana. She finally loves this dinosaur. I'm tearing up talking about it. Please just don't let anything happen to her. And thank God nothing happened to her. I loved the little past she had with Kenji. I really enjoyed that. Especially when it did come to Smoothie. But yeah, I think that Nona was a fantastic side character. And something that season 2 was really lacking, and season 1 to be fair, is that the side characters just weren't as interesting. Here, I loved both Gia and Nana. I thought they were both fantastic characters. So, yeah, that whole thing was done. But then moving on to a not so happy relationship. Sammy and Yaz. Now, just to give my thoughts, I don't even remember if I did a review of season 5 of Camp Cretaceous. It's been 3 years almost. But basically, I was quite upset that they made Sammy and Yaz. I was about to say Sam and Yazzie. Yaz and Sam a couple. Just because I'm not against the same gender relationship. I don't care. In fact, I actually think that it felt quite natural. But I just really felt that they had a perfect friendship. As far as best friends go, they were one of my favorite best friend pairings of any show that I've seen. They were just so good together. But at the same time, them like it changing into a romantic relationship, I can 100% buy into. I just preferred them as best friends. But um, you get to Chaos Theory season 3, and it is beginning to crumble, and it is really hard to watch because there is this wedge that has been driven in between the group, and you have Darius, Ben, and Yaz, who are wanting to go and help Brooklyn in Malta. But then Sammy and Kenji both want to just stay at Gia's house and they don't want to help Brooklyn because, I mean, with Kenji, it kind of makes sense. But with Sammy, you could see was really, really hurt by what Brooklyn did at the end of season 2, where she had the choice to like come with them, but she didn't. She chose to go with Sayona Santos, and this is where I see a lot of people hating on Sammy this season. I see both sides to this because, of course, you know, you'd want her to join them, and I really understood what Sammy was saying with every single scene that she explained it. I completely, I 100% understood her because, with everything she was saying of, oh yeah, we all said we were family, but Brooklyn pretended to be dead and didn't even apologize or say hi or anything like that. So I can 100% understand Sammy, and I don't really know why people are hating her for this. But there's that, and then of course there's Yaz being like, yeah, but Brooklyn is family, and whether she wants it or not, we gotta help her. So I see both sides to the argument, but the thing is, this was such good writing because this is 100% something that happens in real life. Both people are so sure that they are right, and that ends up with them breaking up. And let's be honest, we know this isn't going to be permanent because, well, how could it be? It's not going to be permanent. So, yeah, I think as far as the relationships go, we're finally done with that. And now, like 17 minutes in, let's talk about the juicy parts of the season. It was no surprise that this season was going to have a lot of connections with Jurassic World Dominion, especially with the trailers showing off the characters in Malta, showing the black market. And what I loved about this season is that it took place. It was very much like season 1 of Camp Cretaceous now that I think about it, because season 1 of Camp Cretaceous took place before and during Jurassic World. And then with Chaos Theory Season 3, it takes place before and during Jurassic World Dominion. That's actually that's actually awesome now that I think about it. And yeah, that's just really really cool. And where was I going with this? Fuck. Oh yeah, there's a lot of scenes that sort of connect things, and that whole Malta sequence is I say sequence, it's a multi-episode thing. I really enjoyed everything that was going on with Malta. The black market, I thought that they really did a great job at kind of expanding on it. And not only that, when Jurassic World Dominion's events do take place, we see, of course, the aftermath of that. And let's be honest, that's what we wanted to see from Dominion. Dominion was meant to be the movie that gave us dinosaurs in the real world. And it didn't give us that. But Chaos Theory has given it that to us, on God knows how many occasions. Every single episode, it has not failed to deliver that once, and that's what I love about this show, and especially with this show. Sorry, fuck, I'm getting too excited. This season taking place during Dominion, you get to see a lot of the aftermath of Dominion, and you get Barry in this season as well, who of course we get him on the phone with Owen, and then you get the scene of the Atrociraptors with in the truck and stuff, and we see that Sayona actually did escape there. We saw that in the movie, I'm pretty sure, but yeah, that's where I began to be a good bit confused because I forgot as to whether the last time we saw Sayona in the movie, was it with Claire or was it with Barry? So I had to like double check that. But yeah, that's what happened. Is she actually freed Red, and then they just walked off, and then we got to the helicopter part, which I'll get to at the end. That entire thing I thought was just so awesome. Is that Sayona was going to basically take over the entire black market of dinosaurs, and that was just so freaking cool. And you get the scenes of Sayona with Brooklyn, of course, many times throughout the season, where Sayona does sort of explain what's going to be happening, and Brooklyn does, of course, do her part to quote unquote help Sayona. And one of which, one thing that Sayona did not know about was that Brooke and the handler were actually working together for one thing, okay, quote unquote, working together. And Brooke actually did trick the handler just to try and get her arrested. And I thought that was genius because a lot of the times you see that in movies and shows where the character just kind of like does one action and then the villain is done for. But you think at the back of your head, what if that goes wrong? What if the villain just had quick reflexes and caught themselves? And that is exactly what the handler did. And honestly, this is going to make Dominion so much more exciting to rewatch because I'm going to watch that scene with Sayona and be like, oh my god, Brooklyn and the handler are in the fucking truck. That is so freaking awesome. I love it. And I really love this entire storyline with Sayona, with the handler, with Brooklyn. I thought it was just great. I feel like this season is exactly what a spin-off show should do because Sayona Santos had one scene in the movie and you're like, oh my god, this character could have been so cool, but they did fuck all with her. And season 2 and 3, they actually made her so much cooler. Like, it's really awesome. And of course, yes, the season does end with her getting arrested, but it's what she did before that, which is like, oh my god, this woman is fucking crazy. But yeah, that entire storyline was just fantastic. And there was one character who I didn't mention. That is because of, let's just say some despicable things that they've done. So, there are, of course, the main villains of the show, which are Sayona and the Handler. But this season they introduced Dodgson. And of course, we did see Dodgson in season 5 of Camp Cretaceous. But this is basically during Jurassic World Dominion. So this is going to be a lot closer, like tied closer together with the Dodgson that we see in Dominion. And I feel like they just did such a great job at combining the Dodgson we expected and the Dodgson that we got in Dominion. They found a great middle ground in this season. And that is because Dodgson here is basically like Lalo from Better Call Saul, in that he has this very don't care attitude, except, well, Lalo is more, preppy. But yeah, Dodgson is very nonchalant about a lot of things, and he'll say certain things which are like, oh my god, but it's like while he's trying to open a chocolate bar, which I love that they carried that over. I'm sure that's because Beaver mentioned that in his video of Dominion, where he's like, Dodgson is always eating. I don't know why they did that in the movie, but anyway, yeah, I really enjoyed that detail. And let's just talk about the big thing, and that is Biosyn Valley. So, as like one of the first scenes of the show, one of the teachers, one of the lecturers, whatever the fuck you want to call them, at the main kids' university, is basically held up by the handler and one of the Atrociraptors, and we then find out that Dodgson had this done, or was it Dodgson? It was either Dodgson slash Sayona had it done, so that they can get this man who has been speaking out against Biosyn on their side. And this I thought was great, but then you get to Dodgson's idea of like, okay, we need basically the guy who is going to allow them to have the valley. And I forgot what the name of the person is. I'm sorry, but basically, Dodgson is like, all right, we gotta kill him, and then we find out that he actually had him killed, And that's how Biosyn acquired the Biosyn Valley. Is Dodgson ordered a hit on the guy that refused to sell it to them. What the fuck? That's so crazy. That's ridiculous. And it's just another thing that just adds to the perspective when you're gonna rewatch Jurassic World Dominion. Because you go, holy shit, this guy's evil. I think that the extended version of the movie made Dodgson a more compelling character simply because of that scene in like the tech room with Ramsey. But this just makes it a whole lot crazier. That he didn't even try intimidating the guy like they did with the university teacher. He just straight up had him killed, and that was crazy to me. So yeah, Dodgson, I think for the limited screen time he had, really just showed you how despicable he is, and I really really loved that. If only Dominion didn't have him do a freaking gamer rage. And then one other character who sort of just kind of got involved here is the journalist guy who was following Brooklyn. I actually got quite happy when the handler threw him against the wall. I was like, no freaking way. She just killed him. But no, unfortunately, she just knocked him out. He was kind of an annoying character. I'm sorry. I didn't really care for him. And really, he was just kind of a plot device. So as soon as he found the trio of Ben, Yaz, and Darius, and he was like, "Oh, I've been looking for you. Brooklyn is missing." I was like, oh, "Okay, that's his purpose. He's just a plot device." But yeah, there was that whole thing of him following her into the black market, and that scene where he gets locked up with Ghost, I thought was great. And that whole I just love the Atrociraptors this season, man. I really really love them. And one thing that I did quite enjoy is the little details of this Malta sequence. Like, of course, the handler has been shown mainly at the end of season three. Oh, sorry, of season one, when the Atrociraptors are extremely tired. You can see her have some sympathy, and then she just calls them off, showing that it's not like a servant, like a pet to her. She genuinely really loves these Atrociraptors, and they show that repeatedly throughout the season that she loves these Atrociraptors. She just wants to leave and just be with them. And my god, they actually really made you feel bad for the handler, who is such a creepy and terrifying character. And I'm gonna be honest with you, when I first saw her step out of the truck in season one, I honestly thought that she was a robot. I didn't think she was a real person. But of course, you have all of these storylines happening. And what I loved about it is mainly in the Malta sequence. There's a lot of scenes where it's like, oh, would have been like just out of frame or like 5 seconds away in Jurassic World Dominion. And I think that the way that they handle that is just so freaking smart. And when you have Sayona mention that Rain found Owen and stuff, or something like that. I was like, oh my god, that's the phone call. That's the phone call from Dominion. That's so awesome. Because of course there's that scene of Rain being like, I found the girl you're looking for, and the raptor and stuff like that. That's really, really cool. I loved that. And I just really enjoyed it. And it's also, another example is Barry. Barry, just before meeting Owen, was waiting to meet Ben and them. That was so, so good. I loved it. I really, really did. And, of course, I'm sure there's so many more details that I'm missing out on. In fact, a really interesting one is that the Allosaurus from Dominion was the same one from Chaos Theory Season 1, and I'm pretty sure the same one from Battle at Big Rock. So that was just really really cool. I loved that. It was like a 3 second bit of just showing the eye and Darius's shock. Oh my god, that was so so good. And I just love that whole Malta sequence. I'm so sorry, but anyway, everything sort of culminates in this weird like Colosseum shaped thing. I don't know why they decided to do this because this wasn't in Dominion. Every time they mention the circular shaped thing that isn't underground, I was like, oh, obviously it's the Biosyn Valley. Nope. Nope, it's this weird rock formation thing where Sayona is waiting for a helicopter. And this is probably my favorite scene of this season. Probably my favorite season of the whole show, to be honest with you. I love this ending sequence. So Sayona, Brooklyn, and the handler are all here, and the handler and Sayona get into this awesome and brutal fight. It is, of course, there's no blood, there's no bruises or anything, but it feels brutal. I loved this fight. And then you get such an amazing sequence with the dinosaurs because, first of all, it's revealed that the Atrociraptors that we have in Dominion were not the only ones. Biosyn has trained more Atrociraptors, they've created more Atrociraptors. And also, one detail I failed to mention was that Ghost does, when they show Ghost in Malta again, she shakes the water off, meaning that Ghost did survive that fall in out of the plane. But anyway, moving on, you get the handler and her three Atrociraptors, and Sayona with Red. Now, Red is attempted. Well, she's confused because, of course, the handler has her little whistle thing, and Sayona has the laser, and they actually have Red bite the handler, and you can see her jacket actually be wet and soaked, and there's actually some dark substance on Red's teeth and lips, showing that there's actually blood that he likely, or she, sorry, likely broke her arm. I just love that because we don't really get blood in these shows. I think the only time we've seen actual blood is when they showed the crime scene of where Brooklyn was supposedly killed. Here, you can actually see the blood soaked through her jacket. I love that. And then, of course, you have the scene of Red sort of turning back to the handler's side. But then Sayona reveals something which I honestly did not see coming. And that is the Carnotaurus has also been trained by Biosyn. Oh my god. That was insane. I'm kind of happy they didn't make this Carnotaurus Toro because otherwise Toro would have been mind controlled twice. And that would have been really, really sickening. But you get a sequence here which I honestly couldn't believe. You get the Atrociraptors all going up against this Carnotaurus. And when I first saw that, I was like, okay, realistically, the Atrociraptors should win this. But you get a horrific takedown, and the Carnotaurus kills Ghost. I honestly couldn't believe it. I was so shocked because, and I was also pissed when after it happened because I was like, why did you kill the one Atrociraptor which looks different to the others? Oh wait, that's exactly why you killed him. That's kind of annoying that like all the Atrociraptors that are left look basically the same. But yeah, anyway, Ghost dies. She actually does die, and I couldn't believe that. I was genuinely really sad, not because she died, but because the handler is there watching it, and the handler is pissed off. And then we get such a fantastic, I know I keep saying fantastic sequence. This entire sequence is just amazing. And you get the three raptors kind of all next to each other. And as the Carnotaurus is running towards them, about to attack them again, the handler gets in the middle and screams, "Stop." I gasped so loudly because I knew at some point they were going to have her speak, but I did not think it was going to be like this. This is the first time that she says anything in the whole show audibly. Because there's parts where she whispers things indistinctly, but here she actually screams stop. And she tries, man. She tried the Owen Grady tactic of the hand, and I was like, this realistically should not work. That's something that kind of pissed me off through the Jurassic World. Well, mainly Dominion. Dominion does it a lot, but Owen always does the hand thing with dinosaurs. but it realistically shouldn't work. It only worked with the Raptors because they had a bond with Owen. They knew him. You can't, like in Dominion, he does it with the Parasaurolophus. He tries it with the Carnotaurus. He tries it with the Allosaurus. He tries it with Beta. It should not work. And that's why I'm sad that the handler died, but I'm happy that it happened in a logical way. She does try the hand thing, and even Sayona says, "Oh, not this again." And the Carnotaurus, in one foul swoop, one bite, eats the handler. I couldn't believe it. I genuinely could not believe it. I was shocked. You just see the Carnotaurus bite down, and then it just drops. The little whistle thing just drops on the floor. And I was so upset because I knew the handler was obviously going to die or, be able to actually go off and be free. But realistically, there was like a very low chance of that happening, in my opinion. I thought that she was gonna die, but it was the way it happened, man. And of course, her Velociraptors are just left alone now, which is really sad to think about. But now Brooklyn has taken down Sayona. She's been arrested, thankfully, and now she has rejoined the New Blast 6. Well, I say New Blast 6. Sammy and Kenji are both sort of near Biosin Valley, which really interested to see what the storyline is going to be because they are still separate from the others. However, they all still kind of have a common goal, which I feel like most of them have forgotten, and that is to kind of get Bumpy. Actually, no, I say that. I think Kenji and Sammy are the only ones that knew that. Bumpy is in the Biosin Valley, and I couldn't believe that. What the hell do you mean she's there? You're telling me during Dominion Bumpy was at the facility? That's crazy, dude. So yeah, Kenji and Sammy will likely be going to Biosin Valley to try and get Bumpy. And this is going to be during the events of Dominion. So we will likely be seeing the Therizinosaurus, the Dimetrodons, the Giga, and they're definitely going to be using the Giga because they know how much people hated it because it did absolutely nothing. It was just an animal and it got absolutely decimated by Rexy and the Theory. So very much like what they did with the Pyroraptor with this season, they are probably going to have the Giga be the main villain of season 4. And season 4 is going to be so good, dude. It's going to be so good because here is going to start off during Dominion. And I'm just so excited for this. Season 3, while obviously it's still I don't love Chaos Theory as much as I did Camp Cretaceous. Maybe that's just because of the charm of Camp Cretaceous, possibly. But I feel like as a show, Chaos Theory is better. Like, it's not really a comparison, realistically. But I'm so excited for season 4. And one thing that I completely forgot to mention during this whole video, which I cannot believe, is that the animation of this season is amazing. The main thing that always caught my attention and made me think about it is the Pyroraptor. Because the Pyroraptor looked so freaking good. And the Atrociraptors, of course. The Atrociraptors and the Pyroraptor both looked beautiful. Although I will be honest with you, I don't really know how Darius knew that it was the Pyroraptor because when he says, "Oh, it's a Pyroraptor," literally the only thing that's showing is its eyes. The eyes and its snout. Apart from that, you can't see anything about that dinosaur. So Darius, shut the fuck up. You just guessed that. But yeah, I don't know when we can expect season 4. Hopefully it won't be too long. But yeah, my overall thoughts on season 3, I think that it was absolutely brilliant. I feel like this is the perfect example of what a spin-off show should be, is building upon things that were shown off in the film, such as Sayona Santos, Dodgson, etc. I really enjoyed Chaos Theory Season 3. I don't think I enjoy it as much as Camp Cretaceous season 3, simply because of the charm of that show, but I really enjoyed it. I did have my problems, but the only negative I had for it was Darius. I said it in my Jurassic ranking that I hate, I hate with every bone in my body, I hate what this show has done to Darius. Darius in Camp Cretaceous was, yes, he was a dino nerd. And, of course, I relate to that. But he was a dino nerd. Of course, he'd get picked on occasionally. But he was inspirational. He was wise. He, would keep the team together. But then you get to Chaos Theory, and just because he's older now, all they have reduced him to is the guy that creates awkward situations, and every time he interacts with another human being, he just makes the viewer cringe. He is a cringe inducing character, and it is so upsetting seeing what they've done to him. Like every scene he has where he's talking to someone, he just oh, he stutters, or oh, he just mumbles, or he just creates weird conversations. I don't know what they've done to him, but they have just completely ruined him, in my opinion. He used to be my favorite character of Camp Cretaceous. And now for Chaos Theory, I really don't know who my favorite is anymore. Camp Cretaceous, you really connected with him a lot because he was a dino nerd, he was a kid, he was excited. I connected with him on a personal level. I mean, that the whole, and also the whole thing with his dad, I feel like they just never brought up his dad ever again, which is unbelievable. I feel like at some point there would have been a conversation where they would have brought his dad up, and that's another reason why I sort of kind of connect with him on a personal level, is that they had that scene of season 1 aired in September of 2020, and that whole sequence, not sequence, but that scene of him with his dad in the hospital, I thought was fantastic. And then January, 4 months later, my dad died, and I was like, that's one more similarity between Darius and I. It really connected with me on a personal level, and just seeing what they've done to Darius, it's actually infuriating. But no, even just putting my emotions aside, I hate what they've done to him. Because now he's just another character. That's not what Darius used to be. He used to be the glue that kept the group together. And now he's just there for awkward comedy. And oh my god, it's just horrific. That is my main complaint over the entire show, not just season 3, over seasons 1, 2, and 3. They really made one sequence which really got to me was when he was on the river with I forgot the kid, but the kid that they find whose family is on the farm in season 2 of Chaos Theory. When they're on the river and Darius is in the same boat as her. Oh my god, why? Why did he have to speak? Everything was fine until he spoke. But yeah, that's just my main complaint. Season 3, I think in particular, not really many complaints that come to mind. But yeah, I feel like with season 4, as happy as I was to get 10 episodes, I feel like you gotta do what Camp Cretaceous season 4 did. And that is increase that number to 12 episodes. So yeah, I think finally, friggin' 45 minutes later, we've completed the review. That was just basically my overall thoughts of Jurassic World Chaos Theory Season 3. I think this was a solid 8.5, 9 out of 10. I loved this season. I thought it was great. All the connections to Jurassic World Dominion, the amount of connections there were, I actually cannot remember half of them, because now when I watch Dominion, I'm gonna be like, oh my god, that Dodgson did this. Yeah, he killed a guy to get this valley. Santos, with the Atrociraptors, the handler and Brooke are in that truck there. It's so cool. And really, all it's done is make me want to watch Dominion again, which I believe will be the 7th or 8th time, the extended version, of course. But yeah, that was my review of Jurassic World Chaos Theory Season 3. Please let me know your thoughts on the review down in the comment section below, but more importantly, Let me know your honest thoughts on this season. Was there anything that I failed to mention, something that you think is quite important? Perhaps our opinion differ on certain things. I know a lot of people did not like Dominion, but I really liked it, which is probably why I enjoyed all the connections to it. But yeah, please, just anything and everything, let me know down in the comments section below. And if you did enjoy this video, then please leave a like, subscribe, and goodbye.